I grew up playing tennis in the 1990s, where the balls were faster, courts were faster, and it was very much a power game. Big serves, big forehands, big backhands. It was really a game of trying to blast your way through your opponent. But now we look at modern tennis, and it's a very different world. Slower balls, slower courts, bigger rackets, poly strings, and all of a sudden, spin seems to be king. So which is more important, power or spin? So in the 1990s, everything seemed to favour speed. Courts were really fast, whether it was grass courts, particularly before Ivan Izvich won his Wimbledon. Apparently that's when the grass courts changed at Wimbledon. But then also hard courts, when they didn't have all the grit in them, they were fast as you like. I remember growing up playing on acrylic when it was a true hard court. But also we played with smaller racket heads, mainly synthetic gut strings, really fast balls, and it was just a game of smack the ball as hard as you could. But now, probably partly due to the world tours wanting to make tennis more interesting for audiences, courts have been slowed down. Balls have been slowed down. Racket heads have got bigger, and from the minute that poly was really introduced to the tour, which allowed you to really grab the ball much more and put way more spin on it, all of a sudden players are able to swing much faster, create angles, move the ball around, but still guarantee the ball goes in, which has changed just about everything. Arguably, power alone doesn't win anymore, but neither does spin alone. So then we get into a question of spin versus power, and actually the answer is you need both. You need to have a balance. So why can't you just play with spin? Well, if you float up a loopy topspin forehand with no power on it, and it lands and kicks up and bounces up about shoulder height, you're giving someone all the time in the world to run in and absolutely crush the ball at you. But equally, if you just try to hit every ball as flat and hard as you can, well, even younger kids who have got larger racket heads and a counter-punching style, they're going to get the ball back, and you're just going to end up with the ball going backwards and forwards until someone makes a mistake. What you really arguably need is absolutely you've got to be hitting the ball hard. You need to get the ball going faster into a position, then your opponent can get there and get balance to hit it back. But you also need spin to be able to create angles, expose open spaces, move your opponent side to side, but also have a very high percentage chance of the ball going in because of the spin. So just today I played in a grade 4 tournament where I played the top seed, someone who's beaten me before really quite easily. And I went in, and particularly on the serve, I've really adopted this serving strategy where I used to just go all out on my first serve to try and hit it as hard as I could. Very low percentages, lost lots of points, ended up also double faulting. I've now transitioned where I say about 75% of my serve strategy is to, yes, still hit through the ball, but use much more kick and side spin to move the ball around as well as positioning in it, and maybe then just 25% of the time just to vary it, I will go and hit a ball really hard. But the number of points I win off of putting particularly side spin and moving the ball away or into the body is such a simple, easy way to guarantee I will hit my serve, but also to get free points, whether the serve doesn't come back or it comes back in a position where I can just come and put it away. However, whenever the ball dropped a bit short and bounced up, I absolutely came in, turned my shoulder, flattened out and hit through the ball, leaning in, and just absolutely went for power to hit it into the open space, which felt absolutely necessary. When you have a chance to put the ball away, you put it away. I think arguably, however, rather than looking at spin or power, the actual real key is positioning. Spin and power are tools for something more important, which is how you position the ball, how you position your opponent, and how you create spaces to hit into. You use spin a lot more to put shape on, to dip it, to curve it, to bite it, to make it kick up, or spin off to the side. But you also do that with enough power, so as you move your opponent around by positioning the ball, you keep them off balance, or at the very least, dynamically balanced, where they're not able to set both feet, plant, compose, and hit the best shot they can. So together, power plus spin helps you to control the court, to create angles, to create space, and to force weaker replies. For me, one of my favorite shots is on the forehand, particularly when it's pushed across onto the due side, is to come up and round the ball to put topspin with sides, pull it cross court, drop it just beyond the service line, across diagonally the court, and have it kick off to the side of the court, making sure that I'm covering it if they go down the line for the advantage, but also conscious it creates an angle for them as well. If I can do that with power, however, I usually get a weak reply, and then I'm going to come in and put the ball back into the advantage side for the open winner. I couldn't do that if I just did it with spin. I certainly couldn't do it just with power, particularly if the ball's a bit lower. I need power and spin to make that shot effective. So modern tennis isn't about choosing power or spin, it's about combining them. You use spin to control your power and power to make your spin dangerous. So next time you're on court, maybe think, if all you're doing is hitting soft, spinny shots and you're not really gaining an advantage, or if all you're doing is slapping the ball flat all the time, and again, you're not really seeming to control the court, why don't you put the two things together and hit power with spin or spin with power? Love to hear your thoughts on this. Maybe you've come from, like me, a power world where you've suddenly realized that spin is absolutely essential, or equally, maybe you've played with spin but no power and found that actually by putting a bit more into it, the spin controls it, and actually that wins you a whole lot more points. Put your thoughts into the comments as ever. Love to hear them.